Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me today for a very special and very appropriate episode here on the channel on this Veterans Day. We are going to take a look at the winnings that I received just this past week in the mail from my good buddy Dan over at Ol'Sarge Collects from his 100 subscriber video response contest. And before we get to that, it's an appropriate day to show these because Dan served in our military. In the U.S. Army for a number of years and just retired a year or two ago. So before we get into the cards, just want to take a moment to say thank you to Dan and my father and all the other many veterans that I know for their service to our country over the previous decades. So very special day, and just want to make sure that we honor those people. And now we're going to get into the cards. And, you know, Hugo, who won this contest, and I'm going to leave a link to his video below, over at Signs of the Pastime. He did an amazing video response where he toured around his hometown down in Florida and linked the cards that Dan sent him, which were incredible, to locations where he lives. Hugo does an amazing job. So if you're not subscribed to him, definitely check the link below. I don't have time to do that, but I did want to get this video in. If my voice sounds a little bit off, I was out late at a rock concert last night, so I'm a little bit groggy and have lost my voice today, but didn't want to wait any longer to show off this awesomeness that Dan sent along. Now, I haven't looked through the cards yet, but I did open up the package just so I could save the time on the video, and I'm glad I did because I found those Army figurines inside there, those Army men, which I used to play with as a kid, and which you'll probably have seen in Dan's videos. I think he frequently features one of these saluting Army men, so he was cool enough to send me a batch, which makes a perfect backdrop for the cards that he sent along. So he sent a note to start here. Thank you so much. Shane, hello, my friend. Congratulations on being voted most inspirational in the YouTube card community. I know that I speak for many when I say that it's very deserving. Thank you. I also wanted to say thank you for participating in my 100 sub giveaway contest. You've always been a supporter of my channel, and many of my subscribers I owe to your support. Your friend Dan, Ol'Sarge Collects. And then and here's a George Washington card since you missed out on the other one. So Dan, like many of my hobby friends, he's someone that I text really frequently, kind of get opinions on things or, learn more about cards. And there was a George Washington card from the 1800s that I was toying about purchasing. It was an altered card. I think it was trimmed, but it was really beautiful. Kind of wavered on it, and it ended up selling when I was trying to make my decision. So Dan is kind of good-naturedly ribbing me here and has provided me with a replacement George Washington card. So really, really cool. And let me get a stand here to throw this one up in the background. That's awesome. From Allen and Ginter, World's Greatest Military Leaders. Again, another appropriate card for this Veterans Day episode, and something that looks like it would be right up Dan's alley, except that his would be from like 1789 and like the only one in existence. But all right, so this is cool. We have like looks like a little packet of individual cards and then two one-touch magnetic cards here. So let's start with the packet first. Open this up. And it looks like we have a handful of top-loaded cards, and we start with this great Babe Ruth Turkey Red insert. That is awesome. Really, really cool. Of course, this set originally was oversized cards that were printed way back in the early 20th century. I don't think there is a Babe Ruth in the original set, so it's kind of neat to see him done up in that style. And a cool Red Sox card there. Thank you, Dan. But a Red Sox sticker next. Peel and stick. I will probably actually peel this and stick it on the monster box where I hold some of my Red Sox collection. And then, oh wow, this is a cool one. Check this out. Wheaties Vitabrits Krispies. I do not recognize this. So I'm just going to say at the outset, I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of research at the end of this and maybe follow up on some of these cards, because offhand, I don't know these obscure non-sports sets anywhere near as well as Dan does. I appreciate them. I love them, and I'm trying to learn more about them. But for example, I can't identify what this set is. Other than being famous people and places. The George Washington card, it does look somewhat old. Maybe I'm going to guess like 1950s would be my guess, just based on the printing. But again, really no idea. But how cool is that? A vintage George Washington to go with the Allen and Ginter George Washington that started us off. Move this guy out here. All right, next up. All right, these next two are really cool. So for those that don't know, Dan's uncle growing up was the pitcher Mike Morgan, who played for a variety of franchises around Major League Baseball. Dan's actually told some really cool stories about getting to meet players and going to games when his uncle was in town, whenever he would come by on a road trip, and has a great Mike Morgan collection, which I recently contributed to when I sent Dan a care package. Well, he has sent me two beautiful, shiny Mike Morgan cards. So we're going to start with this one. This is from Score Select in the early 90s, a Select Ace. Check that out. That's like, I believe that's Dufex. I'd recognize that anywhere. That's a Dufex card, just like the Pinnacle Museum Collection parallel or Rink Collection in hockey. Obviously done up like an ace of diamonds here. Really, really cool from Mike's stint with the Cubs. So I love shiny 90s cards like this. And just having the backstory of now having received this from Dan, who is related to Mike and has those stories about him, just makes that really cool. And this other one is even cooler because it's an exact hit for my collection. In addition to being a Mike Morgan card, the 1994 Topps Finest Refractor. How about that? Love Finest Refractors from the 90s. Dan, you couldn't have known this, but I have probably 25 to 30 just, common ungraded refractors from the 94 Finest set. Because at one point I was just kind of buying any that I could find for like $1 or less, but I don't have this Mike Morgan. So this, in addition to being, kind of having that cool backstory with Mike Morgan, is actually just a hit right for my PC. And I'll sort this away with those others in that little collection that I have going. So perfect card. Really appreciate those Mike Morgans. And then the last two from this team set bag, I did know these were coming. They're really, really cool. One of them, as soon as Dan showed me the card over text, I was like, I need to find a copy of that. And he said, well, I'll just send you this one, that's just how Dan is. He certainly didn't need to do that. But here's the first one. These are from the San Diego Padres set that has Smokey the Bear in it. I think these are from the early 80s, maybe mid 80s, but how about that? Tony Gwynn and Smokey the Bear. Just opposite batting stances there. That is just an awesome, awesome oddball card. Like complete smash hit for my collection. I love these type of just really obscure cards. The more obscure, the better. And speaking of which, the final card before we look at the two one-touch cards is probably the most obscure card that Dan sent, I'm going to guess. One of the most obscure cards in my collection, and I am in love with this thing. It is so bizarre. But from that same Padres Smokey the Bear set, they made a card with the chicken, the San Diego chicken mascot. For some reason, they went with a photo of the chicken planting one on Smokey the Bear. I mean, if this isn't one of the most bizarre things that you've seen on cardboard this week, then, let me know in the comments, because I want to know what you have seen that's more bizarre than this, so I can go out and look into it. This is just awesome. I don't know how I made it all the way to being a 41-year-old collector without being aware that this card existed, especially since I love the San Diego chicken, and I have various other versions of San Diego chicken cards, but I had never heard of this. Dan blew my mind when he showed me this over text, and he's just such a friendly guy that he sent it my way. I told him I'd be happy to give him some cash for it, but he wouldn't accept that, and he just sent it along. So Dan, huge thank you. I know that card is probably a laugher to most, but that is like the exact kind of thing that just makes my day. I love just having fun in the hobby like that. Doesn't need to be a $500 vintage Hall of Fame baseball card to be enjoyable. You can have just as much fun with a card of the San Diego chicken reaching second base. Looks like rounding first with Smokey the Bear there. So awesome stuff. And then last but not least, Dan included two cards here that are just over the top. I'm pretty stunned. Again, I'm going to need to do some research on these, but let's start with the first one. Looks like this is from the Players Cigarettes Poultry release, the Rhode Island Reds. How awesome is that? So this is, for those that don't know, the Rhode Island Red is a, at least in these parts, infamous type or breed of chicken that is really known, or affiliated with the state. It goes way back to the point where even when there was a professional hockey team back in the day in Providence, they were called the Providence Reds. Just really cool state link here. I can't believe I've never heard of this card. This is from Players Cigarettes, as you can see in the upper left. I love the colors here, the contrast between the white background and those vibrant paintings, like just so cool. And this is from the John Player and Sons poultry set. I mean, Dan has, I kidded with him recently in a comment that he needs to open up a museum, card museum, because he has one of the most fascinating random collections I've ever seen in my life. And, this is evidence of that. I mean, the fact that I won a video response and on hand, he just happened to have a poultry themed tobacco card affiliated with my home state is, that's just insanity. So this is beyond cool. I love this for all the reasons. I love the San Diego chicken card. I guess this is a very poultry themed care package here from Dan, but right up my alley. And then we're going to finish it off with probably the highlight piece, or certainly one of them, but I don't know, that chicken card, I can't stop looking at it in the background. But this one is equally cool. I don't know what set this is from other than it's Kinney Tobacco. Check this out. And again, perfect card to end today's episode on this Veterans Day. Look at that. Private Marine Artillery. I think I'm going to really sound ignorant, but I think that RI is Rhode Island. Not 100% sure. Dan, I'm sure, can fill me in. I'll be texting him as soon as I finish this video. But if not, maybe somebody can let me know in the comments. But here's the back. So you can see it was made by Kinney Tobacco Company in New York. Really cool. And it gives you a little bit of a description. But I love these military cards. Dan has shown a lot of these on his channel. I just think the artwork is cool. The history is cool. I am a fan of like world history and just history in general. I read a lot of books on that subject. It was something that I always enjoyed in school. And I just think the link between military history and these trading cards is really cool. It's obvious why Dan likes these with his personal connection to the military, but he has really given me an appreciation in watching his videos for these. There are really tons of cool sets similar to these. If you go watch Hugo's video, he got a similar military card, I think maybe from a different set, but from around the turn of the 20th century, and just fantastic. And I'm blown away. I mean, this certainly was not necessary in any way, Dan. I was more than happy to participate in your video response. I really appreciate your friendship. I love your channel. And everything that you're doing in the community. I love to see you growing as fast as you are, and you're going to be doing a 200 sub giveaway in no time. So I hope you saved some good cards and didn't send them all to Hugo and I, because you're growing quickly and it's well deserved. So Dan, I can't thank you enough. Apologies if my energy is a little low for this video. Again, kind of losing my voice and low on sleep, but didn't want to wait any longer to show Dan my gratitude. And as Hugo did with his VR, this just seemed like the perfect day to record and release it. So huge thank you to Dan. Please go check out Hugo at Signs of the Pastime. Please go check out Dan at Ol'Sarge Collects. You can find links to both in the description below. And again, thank a veteran today. And I'll be back very soon with some more sports card content. Till then, enjoy the hobby and take care, everybody. See ya.